I must tell you that during this past week, especially on last Wednesday, as we remembered the 50th anniversary of President Lyndon Johnson's prophetic declaration of a national war on poverty, I was disappointed. I was disappointed in the amount of criticism that I heard related to Johnson's initiative. As a matter of fact, to be perfectly honest with you, over the past several days, I have felt like I'm on the wrong side of the news. More than once, I've realized that I was out of step with individuals with whom I usually walk and consult. Now, maybe it's easier to criticize something that happened 50 years ago than it is to oppose something happening today. But that was not my experience this week or 50 years ago when I heard LBJ's speech. For a young seminarian who passionately believed that we could change the world, I was encouraged and thrilled to hear that the president of our nation would make a pledge to support the elimination of poverty in our country. Remember the context. The nation was still grieving the death of President Kennedy, and here from the new president was a clarion call to moral integrity, essential to nurturing community and advancing equality. Everybody could be involved in getting rid of poverty. Oh, I know some people criticize the president's choice of words, a war on poverty. I didn't like it. I don't like war either. In fact, I hate it. But LBJ spoke with authority and clarity. Those were his words. If a war on poverty was waged to an extent that eradicated poverty, great. Say what you want to about it, and let's get on with doing the work. LBJ did little in his political life that was not beneficial to him. But on this one, he spoke for people with no voices like he did when he made the decision to pass civil rights legislation. It was an act that destroyed his credibility in certain sections of the country and exposed the economic insensitivities of other politicians. 50 years have passed, and I still passionately support an eradication of poverty. You know, another issue that has captured my attention in the past few days is the attempt of Democrats to align themselves with Pope Francis and claim, as did Bernard Sanders, a independent senator from Vermont, that Democrats have a strong ally in the policy debate on economic equity. Now, personally, I happen to support the Democratic Initiative on Economic Justice, and for all of my life, I have considered economic equity to be a moral principle close to the heart of every religious leader. But when Senator Sanders said we have a strong ally in the policy debate on economic equity and mentioned the Pope Francis, I found myself raising questions, thinking we better be very careful about what we're doing and whose authority we're leaning on or claiming. I am as concerned about Democrats attempting to co-opt the Pope as I am about Republicans having co-opted conservative religion. We live in a democracy, folks. Thankfully, we have, with some success, kept separate religious institutions and political institutions. Those who have criticized the right have no rationale for repeating the mistakes of the right and calling it okay because in this instance, the left is involved. What the leaders of our nation do about economic inequity should come from answering the question of what is best for our nation. Neither the right nor the left should legislate on the basis of the gospel, the Torah, the Quran, or any of the other religious scriptures. You know, it's interesting. Those who are praising the Pope best not tarnish his moral authority by claiming him as a kind of international K Street lobbyist. And all should be careful because an ally on one issue may turn out to be an opponent on another issue. Many of the politicians happy about the Pope were unhappy with some previous popes. President Bush, you may remember, tried to garner support for a pro-life campaign to honor a pope who died in office after a reign of pro-life declarations. Personally, yes, we do well to turn to our religious authorities as we shape our moral values. But Congress, an institution of this democracy, should turn only to the Constitution and see to it that votes are based on democratic principles, not on sectarian opinions. I guess by now you see what I mean by being on the wrong side of the news. Let's never stop thinking critically lest we lose sight of the danger of cheering for initiatives that in reality we should be questioning.